Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. So today is the first day of Black History Month, which means it is time for daily Hidden Figures videos. This is going to be our third February doing daily Hidden Figures videos for Black History Month, so stay tuned for that. I will be still posting regularly. The way I think I'm going to do it this year is I'm going to post my Hidden Figures videos first, so they're going to go up earlier in the day, and then the videos that I post, like Black Americans videos and stuff like that, are gonna most likely go up later in the day. If you follow me on Instagram, the link in my bio for Hidden Figures videos will be changing daily since we're gonna be doing daily videos. And I forgot to mention it in my last Hidden Figures video for Charlotte 410 Grimk, but that video was my 100th Hidden Figure. So we've done 100 Hidden Figures, 100 Black women in history. So starting today, we're on 101. So I'm super, super, super excited to be bringing you guys daily Hidden Figures for the third year in a row. So, Wilma Rudolph is today's Hidden Figure. She was born June 23rd, 1940 and died November 12th, 1994. She was an American sprinter from Clarksville, Tennessee, who became a world record-holding Olympic champion and international sports icon in track and field following her successes in the 1956 and 1960 Olympic Games. Rudolph was acclaimed the fastest woman in the world in the 1960s and became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. Due to the worldwide television coverage of the 1960 Summer Olympics, Rudolph became a role model for Black and female athletes, and her Olympic successes helped elevate women's track and field in the United States. Rudolph is also regarded as a civil rights and women's rights pioneer. In 1962, Rudolph retired from competition at the peak of her athletic career as the world record holder in the 100 and 200 meter individual events and the 4x100 meter relay. After competing in the 1960 Summer Olympics, the 1963 graduate of Tennessee State University became an educator and coach. Rudolph and her achievements are memorialized in a variety of tributes, including a U.S. postage stamp, documentary films, and a made-for-television movie, as well as in numerous publications, especially books for young readers. Rudolph was born prematurely at 4.5 pounds on June 23, 1940, in St. Bethlehem, Tennessee, which is now a part of Clarksville, Tennessee. She was the 20th of 22 siblings. Shortly after Wilma's birth, her family moved to Clarksville, where she grew up and attended elementary and high school. Her father, Ed, who worked as a railway porter and did odd jobs in Clarksville, died in 1961. Her mother, Blanche, worked as a maid in Clarksville homes and died in 1994. Rudolph suffered from several early childhood illnesses, including pneumonia and scarlet fever, and contracted infantile paralysis caused by the polio virus at the age of 5. She recovered from polio but lost strength in her left leg and foot. Physically disabled for much of her early life, Rudolph wore a leg brace until she was 12 years old. Because there was little medical care available to Black American residents of Clarksville in the 1940s, Rudolph's parents sought treatment for her at the historically Black Meharry Medical College, now Nashville General Hospital at Meharry, in Nashville, Tennessee, about 50 miles from Clarksville. For 2 years, Rudolph and her mother made weekly bus trips to Nashville for treatments to regain the use of her weakened leg. She also received subsequent at-home massage treatments 4 times a day from members of her family and wore an orthopedic shoe for support of her foot for another 2 years. Because of the treatment she received at Meharry and the daily massages from her family members, Rudolph was able to overcome the debilitating effects of polio and learn to walk without a leg brace or orthopedic shoe for support by the time she was 12 years old. Rudolph was initially homeschooled due to the frequent illnesses that caused her to miss kindergarten and first grade. She began attending second grade at Cobb Elementary School in Clarksville in 1947 when she was 7 years old, and she went on to attend Clarksville's all-Black Burt High School, where she excelled in basketball and track. In her sophomore year, Rudolph scored 803 points and set a new record for high school girls basketball. Rudolph's high school coach, Cece Gray, gave her the nickname of Skeeter for mosquito because she moved so fast. While playing for her high school basketball team, Rudolph was spotted by Ed Temple, Tennessee State's track and field coach, a major break for the active young athlete. The day that Temple saw her for the first time, he knew that the 10th grader was a natural athlete and invited the 14-year-old Rudolph to join his summer training program at Tennessee State. After attending the track camp, Rudolph won all 9 events she entered at an amateur athletic union track meet in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Under Temple's guidance, she continued to train regularly at TSU while still a high school student. Rudolph raced at amateur athletic events with TSU's women's track team, known as the Tiger Bells, for 2 more years before enrolling as a student at Tennessee State University in 1958. During her senior year of high school, Rudolph became pregnant with her first child, Yolanda, who was born in 1958, just a few weeks prior to her enrollment at TSU. In college, Rudolph continued to compete in track. She also became a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Rudolph graduated from Tennessee State with a bachelor's degree in education in 1963, and her college education was paid for through her participation in a work-study program that required her to work on the TSU campus for 2 hours a day. While she was still a sophomore at Tennessee State, Rudolph competed in the U.S. Olympic track and field trials at Abilene Christian University in Abilene, Texas, where she set a world record in the 200-meter dash that stood for 8 years. She also qualified for the 1960 Summer Olympics in the 100-meter dash. At the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome, Italy, and again, you have to realize that this is someone that is still a sophomore in college, right, that just gave birth to her first child as a senior in high school 2 years before. At the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome, Italy, Rudolph competed in 3 events on the cinder track in Rome's Stadio Olimpico, the 100 and 200 meter sprints, as well as the 4 times 100 meter relay. Rudolph, who won a gold medal in each of these events, became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympiad, and also the first American woman to win a gold medal in the 100-meter race since Helen Stevens' win in the 1936 Summer Olympics. Rudolph won another gold medal in the finals of the 200-meter dash with a time of 24.0 seconds after setting a new Olympic record of 23.2 seconds in the opening heat. After these wins, she was hailed throughout the world as the fastest woman in history. Rudolph was one of the most popular athletes of the 1960 Rome Olympics and emerged from the Olympic Games as the Tornado, the fastest woman on Earth. The Italians nicknamed her La Gazella Nera, the Black Gazelle, and the French called her La Pearl Noire, or the Black Pearl. Rudolph returned home to Clarksville after completing a post-Games European tour where she and her Olympic teammates competed in meets in London, West Germany, the Netherlands, and at other venues in Europe. Rudolph's hometown of Clarksville celebrated Welcome Wilma Day on October 4th, 1960, with a full day of festivities. Rudolph's gold medal victories in Rome and Olympic star status gave her an enormous boost to the indoor track circuit in the months following the Olympic Games in Rome. In 1961, Rudolph competed in the prestigious Los Angeles Invitational indoor track meet, where thousands turned out to watch her run. In addition, she was invited to compete in the New York Athletic Club track events and became the first woman invited to compete at the Melrose Games. Rudolph was also invited to compete at the Penn Relays, among others. Following her Olympic victories, the United States Information Agency made a 10-minute documentary film, Wilma Rudolph, Olympic Champion, to highlight her accomplishments on the track. Rudolph's appearance in 1960 on To Tell the Truth, an American television game show, and later as a guest on The Ed Sullivan Show also helped promote her status as an iconic athlete. In 1961, Rudolph married William Ward, a North Carolina College at Durham track team member. They divorced 2 years later in 1963. In the interim, Rudolph retired from track competition at the age of 22, following victories in the 100-meter and 4x100-meter relay races at a U.S.-Soviet meet at Stanford University. At the time of her retirement, Rudolph was still the world record holder in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and 4x100-meter relay events. She has also won 7 national AAU sprint titles and set the women's indoor track record of 6.9 seconds in the 60-yard dash. As Rudolph explained it, she retired at the peak of her athletic career because she wanted to leave the sport while still at her best. As such, she did not compete at the 1964 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan, explaining, "I'll stick with the glory I've already won, like Jesse Owens did in 1936. After retiring from competition, Rudolph continued her education at Tennessee State and earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education in 1963. In May 1963, Rudolph participated in a civil rights protest in her hometown of Clarksville in an effort to desegregate one of the city's restaurants. Within a short time, the mayor announced that the city's public facilities, including its restaurants, would become fully integrated. Rudolph also married Robert Eldridge, who had fathered her child while she was in high school later that year. The couple had 3 additional children, but divorced after 17 years of marriage. Rudolph did not earn significant money as an athlete and shifted to a career in teaching and coaching after her retirement from track competition. She began as a second-grade teacher at Cobb Elementary School, where she had attended as a child, and coached track at Burt High School. Rudolph moved several times over the years and lived in various places, such as Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Detroit, Tennessee, California, and Maine. Rudolph's autobiography, Wilma, The Story of Wilma Rudolph, was published in 1977. It served as the basis for several other publications and films, and by 2014, at least 21 books on Rudolph's life had been published for children from preschool youth to high school students. And how I even heard of Wilma Rudolph? Because I never knew who Wilma Rudolph was. I actually saw her in a book that was for children, that was about, it was like one of those children's like board books that was about women in history. And I was like, Wilma Rudolph, who's that? And that's why I looked her up, and that's how she became today's hidden figure. In addition to teaching, Rudolph worked for nonprofit organizations and government-sponsored projects that supported athletic development among American children. In Boston, Massachusetts, she became involved in the Federal Job Corps program, and in 1967 served as a track specialist for Operation Champion. In 1981, Rudolph established and led the Wilma Rudolph Foundation, a nonprofit organization based in Indianapolis, Indiana, that trains youth athletes. In 1987, Rudolph joined DePauw University in Greencastle, Indiana, as director of its women's track program and served as a consultant on minority affairs to the university's president. Rudolph was also a television sports commentator for ABC Sports during the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, California, and lit the cauldron to open the Pan American Games in Indianapolis in 1987 in front of 80,000 spectators at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In 1992, 2 years before her untimely death, Rudolph became a vice president at Nashville's Baptist Hospital. In July 1994, Rudolph was diagnosed with brain and throat cancer. Her condition deteriorated rapidly, and she died on November 12, 1994, at the age of 54 at her home in Brentwood, a suburb of Nashville, Tennessee. Rudolph's funeral service was held at the Edgefield Missionary Baptist Church in Clarksville, and she was survived by her 4 children and 8 grandchildren. Thousands of mourners filled Tennessee State University's Keene Hall on November 17, 1994 for the memorial service in her honor, and across Tennessee, the state flag flew at half-mast. Rudolph's legacy lies in her efforts to overcome obstacles that included childhood illnesses and a physical disability to become the fastest woman runner in the world in 1960. Rudolph's athletic ability caused gender barriers to be broken at previously all-male track and field events such as the Millrose Games, and she became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympiad. In addition to her own athletic accomplishments, Rudolph is remembered for her contributions to youth, including founding and heading the Wilma Rudolph Foundation, which trains youth athletes. Rudolph has been memorialized with a variety of tributes, including her image on a commemorative U.S. postage stamp. Her autobiography was later adapted into a television docudrama, and her life is also remembered in Unlimited, a short documentary film for school audience that came out in 2015. Rudolph was named United Press International Athlete of the Year in 1960 and Associated Press Woman Athlete of the Year in 1960 and 1961. She's been inducted into several Women's and Sports Hall of Fame, including the Black Sports Hall of Fame, the U.S. National Track and Field Hall of Fame, the U.S. Olympic Hall of Fame, the National Women's Hall of Fame, and the National Black Sports and Entertainment Hall of Fame. Wilma Rudolph, a hidden figure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Looking forward to doing a month of daily videos, hidden figures for February, Black History Month. There will be tons of links in the description box as always. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.